I actually had to change the way I type on a keyboard. I can't do any more long gaming sessions without a gamepad, and carrying grocery bags full of chicken can actually be quite painful now. What's up folks, it's Uranus from Brussels. Welcome to another video. Today it's been exactly 4 years since my worst fitness injury ever. I left the gym with blood all over my clothes, with half a finger missing, and I had to go to the ER, and I was in for months of recovery. 4 years later, I met with my surgeon. Let's see if I learned from my mistakes, if I recovered emotionally, and if I can use all of my 10 fingers for what they were designed for. Alright, let's get to it. So my injury happened on a Monday evening, chest day. I was doing dumbbell, bench press, and because I'm an idiot, I left my warm-up weights straight next to my bench press. So I picked up my working weights and I went to town with those until I reached muscle failure at rep number 7. Being frustrated about reaching muscle failure on an uneven number, I probably dropped the weight with a little bit too much frustration to the side of me. So my middle finger got caught in between the weight I was on the floor and the weight I was dropping. Except it didn't just fall straight like this on my finger, it fell and then it rolled forward. So we're not talking about this, we're talking about a 30 kilogram dumbbell. So my finger got caught between the two of them, one rolling forward, and it completely ripped my finger open like a sausage on a barbecue grill. Actually, the damage was quite extensive, as a big piece of flesh was missing and also a piece of bone. I already made a video covering this entire injury a couple of months ago with all juicy pictures and videos included. So if some of you like to watch gore, be sure to watch that video. I've shown these pictures to my colleagues during lunch break, and most of them actually weren't that hungry anymore afterwards. It's the middle finger, so it's pretty much a finger you're using all of the time. Now, it's been exactly 4 years since the accident, and I met with my surgeon again. I showed him the pictures of the injury, and he actually congratulated himself on doing a damn good job 4 years ago, because in a lot of similar cases like this, they have to amputate that part of the upper finger. And I'm already quite an insecure guy, so that would just not have been fun. My surgeon does a lot of surgeries on injuries like this, and people who do manual labor and injure themselves with heavy equipment and so on. And actually, when I was on his operating table during the surgery, it was during his lunch hour, and I was a bit embarrassed because it was during his lunch hour and the man's got to eat, you know, so he has to cut his lunch hour short for me, and I was apologizing and a bit embarrassed about that. But he told me not to worry, since the day before he got called up into an emergency because a guy had sawed off 4 of his fingers straight through with a wood saw, and he had to reattach the 4 fingers. Now we're 4 years later, and of course the wound has healed, but the finger has never been the same again. The shape has never recovered, it's flatter than the other ones, and the nail is now bended, but luckily I never lost a nail during my recovery. I still can't feel in my finger, the nerves were damaged beyond recovering. After the surgery, my guy told me it would come back after a good year, but it never did. The only thing I feel is pain and some weird kind of tingling sensation, just like when you're listening to ASMR, if you know what that is. Speaking about pain, it hurts when I have to grab things with an edge, like a heavy table or a broken ass dishwasher. I got used to it after 4 years, of course, but it still impacts my work quite a lot, because I actually had to change the way I type on a keyboard. I can't do any more long gaming sessions without a gamepad, and carrying grocery bags full of chicken can actually be quite painful now. Something I didn't mention before is that I also suffer from the syndrome of Raynaud. This is a medical condition where blood flow is restricted to your extremities. Basically, when I'm outside in the winter, my fingers no longer have blood inside of them and they can turn completely yellow. This can be quite painful, and the only solution is to grab my girlfriend's butt cheek really firmly to heat up my fingers. I'm not even joking, sometimes it's a situation of life or death. Earlier this year I was hiking in Norway, and after an hour and a half I simply could no longer use my fingers to do anything. So my partner had to sacrifice herself a bit. The problem is, after a while I feel nothing anymore. So basically I can't do anything with my fingers anymore, and this happens doing groceries, Doing grocery shopping in those big fridges, it sometimes happens too that I no longer feel my fingers. It's quite painful, and guess which motherfucking finger hurts the most out of all of those? Well, of course, it's the middle one. Now, of course, pain is relative because compared to a heavy leg day, this is nothing. Now, those are just problems in my daily life. In the gym, I can use heavy dumbbells and heavy machines without any problems, but the only thing is my grip strength has never fully recovered. It's always my left hand who is going to open up during a heavy dumbbell or anything else, and it can be quite annoying. Since the injury, I'm also much more careful in the gym. I always check my bench to see if it's clear to drop my weights. I can get angry sometimes at strangers in commercial gyms too when they're coming too close to me when I'm doing bench press with dumbbells. If I'm benching 40 kilogram dumbbells, don't come TikToking right next to my bench press, because if I reach muscle failure and the weight is falling and your foot is next to my bench, that is going to be a bit of a problem. I once had a kid doing push-ups right next to my bench press, so if I dropped the weight, it would have been on his head, and I had to explain to him that it can actually be quite dangerous. So always be careful of what you're doing in the gym. So safety first, always be careful. That's my message. Accident happened in a split second and you'll end up with flat looking sausage-like fingers for the rest of your life. Not too long ago, I made a video about a Mexican woman who unfortunately lost her life in the gym because she wasn't paying attention enough. Be careful and don't put your fingers in the wrong place at the wrong time. I remember when I first met my partner, on our first dates, I used to be very self-conscious about my finger and how it actually looks like, and the wound had already healed, but I was still putting a lot of bandages around my finger because I just didn't want her to see it. Same thing in my professional life. Anyway, I'm still grateful to have my 10 fingers, and mostly they do their job pretty fine. Alright, leave me a comment in the comment section to support my channel. Subscribe if you like what I'm doing. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Uranus out.